put us in this position, bro. I tweeted out, do not, for the life of me, give the ball to Kelsey Mitchell when the game's on the line. What do? This is a movie we've seen before. We've seen this movie a lot of times. When the game on the line, what do Kelsey Mitchell do? Every time. Since Caitlin Clark has been.
With 7 seconds left in the fourth quarter and the Fever trailing 95-98, Indiana had the ball and the game in their hands. The choice made in that moment, putting the ball in Kelsey Mitchell's hands, ended in a turnover out of bounds, handing possession back to Chicago and effectively ending any chance of a comeback. What followed on the sideline told its own story. Caitlin Clark's reaction was immediate and visible. She turned toward the bench with clear frustration, and Stephanie White could be seen attempting to calm her down. Clark was not having it.
Since Caitlin Clark has been on this team, Kelsey Mitchell has done something when the game on the line to not win the game. When they give the ball to her to do something. Watch this again, bro. Watch this again, bro. I can't make this up, bro. Watch this here.
For Indiana in this ball game. Mitchell out of bounds. And it's Chicago ball. Reset timeout.
The broadcast cut away quickly, but what was captured on camera was enough. Clark was furious, and the exchange between her and White was heated. White appeared to gesture that things were under control. Clark's body language communicated the opposite. The timing makes the moment even more significant. Just 2 nights prior, it was Clark who won the game. The play that delivered that victory was not drawn up for her. Sophie Cunningham made an in-game red and got Clark the ball anyway, resulting in the winning shot.
And it's Chicago ball. Reset timeout and a miscue by the Fever.
Now look at how mad Caitlin is. Look at Caitlin Caitlin went off on Stephanie White again. Caitlin Clark went off on Stephanie White again. Watch Caitlin's face. Caitlin is sick of this, bro. Look at Caitlin's face. Watch Caitlin's face after this play. I can't make this up, bro. I can't make this up. Watch.
Timeout and a miscue by the Fever.
The contrast between those two positions is difficult to ignore. When Clark has the ball in critical moments, the Fever win. When the ball goes elsewhere, moments like the Mitchell turnover happen instead. Mitchell's late-game execution has been a recurring issue throughout the season. Whenever the game tightens and the ball ends up in her hands with the result on the line, the outcome has rarely gone Indiana's way.
And a miscue by the Fever.
Look, Stephanie White, it's okay, Caitlin, it's okay. Caitlin's like, no. Now, y'all see how the WNBA quickly took the camera off? I wish I went to this game. Oh, I wish I went to this one. Watch Caitlin. Caitlin was going off, bro. Look, Stephanie White eyes got big. Look, watch this.
And a miscue by the Fever.
It's okay, we got it. Caitlin said, no, we don't. No, we don't.
The pattern is consistent enough at this that it goes beyond coincidence. On top of the Mitchell situation, Chicago's Cyteria Taylor came off the bench and put together a performance that had no business happening against a team with Indiana's talent level. Taylor finished with 32 points and 7 rebounds in 20 minutes. For context, her previous outings had been brief. 3 minutes against Atlanta, 8 against Toronto, 13 against Connecticut. She had shown flashes, including a 15-point game against Washington and a 7-point showing against Minnesota, who currently sit as the best team in the league.
Taylor said, no, we don't. No, we don't.
Marshall's going to make a substitution, get Cloud back in.
For Indiana in this ball game. Mitchell out of bounds. And it's Chicago ball.
Tell me I'm true.
Reset timeout and a missed.
Bro. I ain't lie, dog. Look at.
But allowing a reserve player to go off for 32 is a problem that falls squarely on the coaching staff's inability to make defensive adjustments in real time. The Fever gave up 30 points to a player who had barely seen the floor in recent weeks. Whatever defensive rotations were being run failed to account for Taylor finding open lanes repeatedly, and no one on the roster or bench made the necessary correction before the damage was done. That kind of performance from a bench player does not happen without systemic breakdowns in coverage, and it is the sort of thing that compounds the frustration already building around how this team is being managed on both ends of the floor. Sophie Cunningham addressed the game winner meme directly on her Show Me Something podcast, making clear that her absence from the following game had nothing to do with any suspension.
Look at Stephanie White. Look at Stephanie White right here. This is Stephanie White right here. Stephanie White is trying to tell Caitlin, it's okay, Caitlin. We're going to be okay. Caitlin, no. What you just did was so stupid. Why would you? I just won the game. 2 nights ago. I just won the game. And look, that's how we know that play was not.
The assumption had spread quickly after the meme went viral. Fans connected the dots between the moment and her sitting out and drew their own conclusions. Cunningham pushed back on all of it and called it exactly what she saw it as: a funny moment that got blown out of proportion. On the play itself, Cunningham's version is that it was drawn up exactly as it unfolded. The design called for a cross screen to Lexi Hull, which pulled 2 defenders toward Hull and left Caitlin Clark wide open. Clark was always the intended target, Cunningham said, and the outcome was the result of the play working properly.
That play was not for Caitlin, bro. That play where she won the game, that wasn't for Caitlin. This proves it. This proved that when Caitlin Clark, when Sophie passed Caitlin the ball and Sophie trolled Stephanie White, because she definitely, I wanted to Sophie take that down. Let's see, because I don't think she did. But if she did, then we all know like the suspension thing was probably for real. Because all of a sudden,
the moment of apparent confusion, which became the meme, came from Cunningham expecting Clark to keep moving toward the ball while Clark had already stopped to receive the pass. That timing gap nearly got the pass deflected. The problem is that Lexi Hull told a different story. Hull's version was that the play was not designed to finish the way it did, that Clark read the defense and created the shot on her own, and that the outcome worked in their favor despite the broken execution. That contradiction is exactly why the online reaction leaned skeptical.
the suspension thing was probably for real. Because all of a sudden, Sophie elbow was all out of whack, which that is a whole nother damn video. But I just want to see real quick. I just want to see, did Sophie take the post down? And it don't look like she did. And it don't, hold on. Nope, she didn't. Nope. Sophie still got it up. Somebody said almost every time is Kelsey scoring. It's every time. Every time they give the ball to Kelsey Mitchell when the game on the line.
2 players describing the same play in incompatible terms, with the backdrop of Cunningham then missing the next game, was enough to keep the speculation alive Cunningham also spoke about how the newer players on the roster are adjusting to playing under this level of buzz-off scrutiny. The rookies, by her account, have found it genuinely difficult. Inside jokes, casual social media posts, offhand comments. Everything gets pulled apart and amplified. She said, several of them came to veterans last week, asking how to deal with it, and her advice was straightforward. Develop thick skin, stop tracking the noise, and keep playing.
And she is coming out and addressing this again on the podcast, and we're going to watch that video. Another little nugget. She's talking about how the rookies are having a hard time processing the massive, heat that is put on this franchise. And I've said, this is probably the only WNBA franchise that could relate to, say, an NFL team.
That adjustment is not optional for anyone wearing an Indiana Fever uniform right now. The broader dynamic here is one that veterans and coaches across the organization have also visibly struggled with. The Fever operate under a level of public attention that no other team in the WNBA comes close to matching. The closest comparison points are not other women's basketball teams. They are franchises like the Cowboys, the Lakers, the Yankees, programs where everything is dissected in real time, and every decision by management, coaching staff, and players gets treated as major news. Sports media has understood for years that covering large brand teams drives traffic, and that rule applies to the Fever now the same way it applies to those franchises.
And the kind of social media scrutiny, and even I even mean certain NFL teams, Cowboys, Eagles. We talked about that all the time, and we think in my opinion, women's basketball players just aren't used to it. But they're making more money now, and anywhere Caitlin Clark plays, there's going to be a microscope on them. There's going to be a zeroing in by social.
What makes the Fever situation unique is how recently this changed. The league went from drawing around 300, this is 0, viewers per game to over 2.5 million. That shift happened rapidly and came with consequences the organization has been visibly unprepared for. Scrutiny at that scale is not hate. It is the standard cost of operating at that level of visibility. Teams and individuals in major sports absorb that pressure constantly.
A zeroing in by social media, the fans, every little thing that's said is going to get dissected. It's just the way it is. And I will say this, I give Sophie credit for one thing. She's basically like, you're going to have to get some thick skin. Because that's not going away. I'm going to tell you this. They better hope it doesn't go away. Because if that does go away, that means the viewers have gone away. That means the league is regulated.
Dak Prescott takes constant criticism. Despite being a legitimate starting quarterback in the NFL, Jalen Hurts has reached 2 Super Bowls and won 1, and a significant portion of Eagles coverage treats him as a problem. That is simply what playing for a high-profile franchise looks like. The attention around the Fever is not independent of Caitlin Clark's presence. If Clark were traded to Chicago tomorrow, the focus would shift immediately.
Regulated, has been regulated back to what it formerly was, which was a league nobody cared about. Which was a league that was getting 300,000 viewers for a game and not 2.5 million. They better hope that attention does not drop off of them. Sophie, of course, the game-winning shot. That's the exact plan, right? So,
if the Connecticut Sun relocated to Houston and Clark somehow ended up there, the spotlight would follow. The coverage, the podcasts, the social media volume, the ticket demand. It all travels with her for teammates and coaches who find the scrutiny difficult, that is worth sitting with carefully. The same platform creating pressure is also creating opportunities. Podcast audiences, sponsorship visibility, name recognition that would not exist otherwise. The noise and the benefits are coming from the same source.
Shot. That's the exact plan, right, Soph?
We had a game winner the other night. I'm telling you, and I spill pretty much everything on this podcast. That is the exact play we freaking drew up. There was a miscommunication. There was a cross screen, C to Lexi, and they both went with Lexi, and it left C wide open. And we were going to C anyway. The play was to go to CC. Like, it was perfectly executed. It was a cross screen and then down screen. So she was supposed to be like at the top of the key, but
you got closer to you.
Lexi drew two defenders, and so she went right where there was like wide open space. And like, that's why I grabbed her, because I was like, I threw it because I thought she was going to continue to run to me. And that's why it was almost tipped. So like, everyone's like, oh, I was like, no, that was the play. See, like, and it worked out perfectly because there was no one around her after she caught it. But I thought she was going to continue to run towards the ball, and she stopped. And so that's why I was like, ugh! That meme, that's just like a funny meme. Like, I just saw that and like we all thought it was hilarious. Everyone thinks I'm like suspended because of this. And I'm like, that's just like a funny meme. Like, I just saw that and like we all thought it was hilarious. Everyone thinks I'm like suspended because of this. And I'm like, no. And so, but I know people are going to go like crazy, and it's like,
I will give Sophie this. She seems to keep some things in perspective. Of course, she came out, this is the exact play. The problem is, and I showed this yesterday, and we've shown it a couple of times, Lexi said it was not the exact play. So that is why everybody kind of called bullshit on all of this. We were trying to draw, is why everybody kind of called bullshit on all of this. We were trying to draw a foul. I think Caitlin's a great basketball player. She made a read. Sophie was able to deliver a perfect pass to her. She knocked it down when it mattered. I can't say that that's exactly what we drew up, but it worked. So she's saying that wasn't the exact play. It just worked out for them. So that's why everybody's like, yeah, okay. And that's why everybody believes the Fever organization, at least